If you like getting your ass beat, go buy a motherfucking house. Welcome back to Undiagnosed Baddie, your favorite daily 10-minute podcast. Today, y'all, we're talking about domestic violence. We're talking about domestic violence. And yeah, I stand by what the fuck I just said because you are disturbing everyone in your building, whether it is apartment, whether it is condos, whether it is townhouses, because you know they're building those as thin as paper today. You're bothering everybody around you. Go buy a single family stink if you don't want to leave. And I say that with the most respect and disrespect at the same time. Let's go ahead and get the fuck into it. I have neighbors upstairs. Okay, so let me just tell y'all right now this episode may pause and I may have to come back and regroup because I did call the police on my neighbors. I did. There becomes a time where you cannot take someone being dragged across your head, her crying, them running out into the hall. There's arguments in the hall between the floors, right? You start to become a nuisance and a disturbance to the people around you, and that's not fair to the people in the homes around you. That's not fair to the children in the homes around you. And the reason why I say that is because everybody knows that I have a child and we can hear her sob after their fights. We can hear her sob through and I can't hear anything from this neighbor and I can't hear anything from that neighbor. I don't hear anything from downstairs. And I know you're like, well, you're upstairs still, even when people are blasting music. So it is, I'm trying to describe how loud the violence is above me. Because if I have, like, when I walk out into the hall, and it's a Saturday morning or whatever, I can hear my neighbors play music. But when I'm in my home, I can't hear anything. So they did amazing with padding side to side. And I'm pretty sure, even, I have a toddler cousins that come over and I vacuum and all kind of stuff. And I haven't had a complaint about the noise that goes on in my home. And that is so you can really understand what the fuck is going on upstairs. Now, when I say I did call the police, I'm waiting for them to call me back. I am going to try to get some audio um, of me talking to the police. I'm not going to get any audio of what's going on because once I take them to the apartment, and I have to because the way my building is so secure, the halls are so windy. It's a decent sized building, but it's very very secure. It is definitely Fort Knox in here, and I'm going to have to take them to their apartment. With that being said, there's this stat that came out, and it was like it takes, on average, a woman that's in a domestic situation 7 times to leave before she's fully done. And I just want to say, baby, it would take me one. I have been very lucky, and this is not against anybody who's had their hands put on them, for me not to have a man put their hands on me. And again, it would only take once. And I know some other women who it only took once for, and this is not anything to down women that have stayed, but also, why the fuck did you stay? I'm not asking, that's rhetorical because in my head, if you beat on me one time, I don't want to hear it. But that's also me. I know people go through things and say, well, there's so many excuses to why women stay. And it may seem like I'm being not understanding, that I'm being rude, but there's no reason for you to stay. And when people stay, it's insecurities, it is the lack of funds, it is so many other things, but the main thing is insecurity. Because I'll be damned if I'm staying somewhere where someone is hitting on me. Especially when 9 times out of 10, we could say eight times out of 10, it's her house. It's her house. Um, and even when you move in, you know, you don't always see everything at once. But it's always, what does they say? They always say that hindsight. And boy, it really just sucks for everybody in this situation. I do know that there are children upstairs. I don't ever hear anything as far as abuse towards a child. It is between the adults, and that shit fucking sucks. And I personally don't have the space to house anyone if they were being beaten, needed help. But I personally would go and help someone get shelter to leave a situation. I'm not that cold hearted, but I also don't have time for foolishness. There's not that much love in the fucking world to stay with somebody that's beating your ass. There's not. That was an alarm. Again, I couldn't silence my phone because I'm waiting for the call from the police. I know this is a touchy subject for some people, and I know some people are going to disagree with the things that I'm saying. But one thing for certain, two things for sure: a bitch that loves herself and a bitch that is secure is not staying in a situation where she's getting her ass beat. Now, what came to, why do you think that you needed to stay? Why did you think? Can y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? He's chasing her down. Like, I don't know. I called probably about 30 minutes ago. Um, if y'all can hear any of that, it stopped. But somebody definitely ran down the hall. Um, and it's like they're outside. It's like they're out. It sounds like two men are tussling. Like, she holds her own, for sure. But you shouldn't be beating on a woman, fucking ever. And no matter who starts it, you shouldn't be beating it. Let's just even say she did start it. She winds up losing it. I don't think across the board there should be domestic violence against anybody. A woman putting her hands on a man putting his hands on a woman at all. People have lost their lives trying to help save their loved ones when all their loved ones did was go back to someone that was whooping their ass. And I don't think that's fair to people that have tried to help women. That's why it becomes a tricky subject, topic, situation where men say, hey, I can lose my life if I step in. But with social media being as big and everybody has their phones out, if someone doesn't step in, people are calling him a coward and said you could have saved that woman's life. But at the end of the day, it's like his life could have been taken, and then the trajectory of whoever else is in his world, is changed forever. What do you do? What do you do with the friends that continuously go back? What do you do with the family members that continuously go back? Without it being as level 10 as domestic violence, without it being as serious as domestic violence, I did have a friend that continuously kept going back to someone that manipulated her, that cheated on her, that was, I would call it sexually abusing her along the terms of continuously trying to get her pregnant. So that, to me, that's sexual abuse, because he was trying to continuously keep her pregnant to give her a lot of babies so she couldn't leave. Like, to me, and if I'm not saying that correctly, please correct me in the comments. It's a lot, it's a lot when you have friends who don't love themselves and admittedly don't love themselves. And when that admittance comes out, what do? It's like, damn, I don't want to step back and see you go through X, Y, and Z, but I also can't have the chaoticness of your life in my energy. I don't think people love to talk about, oh, I feel energy, I feel people, I know how to read people, I know how to do this, but it's always the most chaotic people that say that don't truly read energy. And I try to describe like chaotic energy like that Charlie Brown cartoon where he's talking and it's just this ball of mumble over his head, and that's what that reminds me of. That's what it reminds me of. I'm not the chaoticness. I am not in a place in my life where I could fully support somebody that has a chaotic household, personal energy, none of it. And so what I'm going to do, and this is not normal, I am going to stop here. No, I'm just going to finish it out. We're at the end now. But what I'll do is, this one might be past 10 minutes, depending on how long it takes them to come. And I need to upload. And y'all might get some audio. Or it might be a part 2. But this is a lot, y'all. It's a lot. It's making, is draining.